Sorry, been a wild and crazy day. Just got finished with the Audible. I had a lot of fun doing that. What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday afternoon to all of you. We've already cashed on the under 6.5 in the Global Series in Stockholm. That market move was going against us, just like last night. We didn't let last night's disappointing results scare us. We went against the market move, took the under 6.5, and it was a 3-2 final score. We cashed it. Feel good about that. There's our guy Sean Williams in the house with Winthrop -3. Okay, so this is how we're handling the show. I'm going to go over quickly NHL and NBA very quickly. Al Mack's going to join us. We have CFL playoffs, and he's been destroying CFL. We're going to talk CFL playoffs. We're going to talk MLS, and he's got one NFL move. We're going to do this very quick. And then Maxwell Smart will be on for an hour breaking down this giant card. He's got a set of games that he wants to talk about, moves that he wants to make, and then we're going to open it up to the questions from the chat. Max went 5-4 yesterday, and he is rolling 22-12 on the season. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. There's our guy Guillermo Zutucci. Goes back to Oakland, watch his team take care of business. Derek Link in the house says hopefully they cover this Auburn Davidson game off the rip. I'm feeling over 145.5. Let's go over to this NCAA basketball card very quickly and see how soon this game is popping off. We did break it down on the show. Yesterday's show, he did break down Davidson Auburn. He has made one move on the card already, and that's American University -3.5. He did that at the end of yesterday's show. We have Oakland, Delaware going right now. Looks like a low-scoring affair. We are going to start off with Davidson Auburn. We'll start off with Davidson Auburn, and then we'll move down Max's selections. Much love to all of you guys. Not Flush Allen says, let's do work, boys. Jimmy Schuyler here playing her first ever volleyball tournament. Go, Schuyler! Man, love Schuyler. Big volleyball tournament for Schuyler. Oh, it's great news. We are all wishing her team great success. All right, we got a great group here. I would shout all of you out. But we've got to get to work right now. And but know that we have no show without these great cappers in the chat. Look, I almost talked myself in the Red Wings first period, and then I stopped and said, what the hell are you doing? The Ottawa Senators move has been very good to us. I don't want to fade these Bruins, even if it's a bad spot for them. So I'm not making a move on the Red Wings first period. Canucks, Jets. I don't think the Canucks are very good, but Thatcher Demko's been very good. Yes, I want to fade the Jets, but I don't want the Canucks ever. I want to fade the Canucks, and their 9-4-3 record is going to allow us to do that with great success. There's our guy Dave Betts joining us. Devils Oilers. It's another situation. I'm never going to want the Oilers. They're 10-5-2, so we can fade them. But do I want to fade them with the Devils? I can't trust Corey Schneider. I can't trust him, and I'm not doing it. So I am going to take my $190 from the under 6.5 in the Lightning Sabres game and, shower myself with it. But I'm not going to lose it on any of these other three games. I'm off the rest of the NHL card. This NBA card I wanted to make moves on. I had Jay Money on the show. We broke down each and every game. I find them all very difficult. Do we trust the Magic to smash the Grizzlies? Grizzlies are 0-2 on the road. Let's move to this NBA spot right now. The Magic just aren't scoring. I lean over, but the Magic are the home team that's going to dictate pace. So I can't make a move right there. I can't make a move on the over. That was a move that I wanted to make, and I was staring at all day. Jeff Joseph on the under in the Canucks-Jets game. And Thatcher Demko's playing well. I get that. I get that. So with this spot here, Grizzlies Magic, we've seen this total open up at 208. It's gone up to 209, 208.5. Yeah, I want to take it, but I'm not going to. Cavaliers, Wizards. We broke down these games. Which team? These are two evils. Who do you trust? The Wizards at home or the Cavaliers who are playing great under Beeline? I don't want any of them. Our very own Jay Money's first quarter, first half, full game on the Pacers. Look, I get that. There's been a market move towards the Pistons. Drummond bullies these guys. And I know Miles is back and Sabonis is back. Sabonis is playing good, but Drummond's a bad man. These guys aren't. So I get it, but I'm not making a move on it. Black Baller suggests to me Orlando with the home advantage might be the difference tonight. Maybe it is. Kings, Hawks. Teddy Covers is on the Hawks. Do we trust what the Kings have looked like? This is their last game of the road trip. Look, if Teddy Covers wasn't on the Hawks, I might even make a move on the Kings because I don't think this is the last game of the road trip where they're going to mail it in, but I'm not. Warriors, Timberwolves. I thought it was going to soar over, and we've seen money coming in on the under. Oh, and Jet Billing says no Miles Turner. Sorry, Mal. I thought Miles Turner was going to be available, but I guess he's not. Ron Lofton, Tail J Money with the Pacers play. Look, I think there's going to be a ton of offense towards Timberwolves. Why is the market going towards the other side? I'm sitting here with a 15-10 record, and these teams have only played 7 games. Do I trust the Pelicans at home? I think the Raptors need this win badly. They need this win so badly at 2.5 or 3. But the Raptors are 1-2 on the road. Pelicans are just 1-2 at home. I'm not making a move there. Knicks, Mavericks. Is this too many points for Dallas? I know the Knicks are terrible. Teddy Covers is on Dallas. I'm not. Bucks, Jazz. I mean, I'd like to take the Jazz on the money line. I'd like to, but there's been a market move towards the Bucks. Does that make the Jazz more appealing? Who have the Jazz beaten other than the Sixers just 2 days ago? They hadn't beaten anybody. And then Nuggets, Sixers. You know, I understand that the Nuggets aren't going to get a lot of looks from their spot here. Okay, sorry, Rafa. We'll talk about that later. I scheduled for what I asked for. I needed it before the show started. So Sixers, Nuggets. It was the tweet from before for the show. Okay, not the Sixers, Nuggets. You know what? We know that Jay Rich can go play the point. I need to watch him do it. Then we have Jay Money on the Blazers first quarter, first half, full game. Do you trust this Blazers team? I don't. Heat, Lakers. Look, I'm not making a move on NBA. Alex Garris' highest public concentration on Toronto. Highest sharp concentration is on Utah +3. So I'm not making a move in NBA. As boring as that sounds. My NHL look has already cashed. I'm going to stay there. That's my action. Let's bring in Al Mack right now. We got CFL playoffs. We got the MLS final on Sunday. And we have an NFL look from him. Let's bring him on right now. Prince of the City says, I think you need a shot. I think I do too. I think that's the first thing I'm going to do after this show ends. Yesterday really hurt me. I'd made all that money back that I lost on Saturday and Sunday. $1,500. I'd made it all back. And then those 2 NHL spots, 3-0 going into the third with the Islanders. Penguins really got to me. 3-0 for the Sharks over the Wild after the first period. 5-2 after the second period. And I can't cash that -1. Bothersome. Yenny Toon loving the Jazz tonight. I could take the Jazz on the money line. but I don't know if I'm going to do that. JP says, what's your beautiful NHL record, Jimmy? Well, it's a little better than it was earlier today. But my NBA record's actually more beautiful than the NHL record. But thank you for saying that, JP. But we got to bring in Al Mack. We haven't seen Al Mack all week. Coming to us live from Toronto. Al Mack, my man, how are you doing today?
Good, man. Just going over this the post-season action for CFL. And going to give you some 2 quick looks on that.
All right, let's see it. CFL, let's get after it right now. We have a spot where I feel like it's the Alouettes spot to take care of in Montreal. This is the first exciting game they've had in Montreal in years, and they open up as 1.5-point favorites. They're now 2-point favorites. This total's at 50. What are you doing with the Eskies Alouettes?
Yeah, like usually in the regular season with CFL, I've stayed away from trends. I've stayed away from just riding teams on. It's not really a trend league, but there's 2 spots in this weekend in the CFL that are unignorable. If you've been fading the Eskimos ATS as dogs all season, you've gone 5-1-1. If you faded them on the road, ATS 6-2-1, and if you faded them in every single game that they played, you've gone 12-5-1. ATS. My power ratings have Montreal as only about a half point better than Edmonton at home. I just think my power ratings are not as what the numbers are saying are very clear, and it's take Montreal. I'm going to be you get them at a -135 right now at Bet365, and then might as well hit the winning margin prop 1-6. Plus 333. So that's what I like in this game.
I get it. Are you making a move on the total?
I've had success all year staying away from totals, but in this, I kind of Edmonton 7-2 to the under on the road so far this year. I kind of lean under here. It'll probably be a game time decision. If there's some money that comes in on the over, I'll I'll probably take a shot at the under. I like both unders this weekend, to be honest.
Seems like a lot of points with the Stamps at -6. Are you making a move here?
Okay, so full disclosure, when in the beginning of the season, I got Calgary to win the Grey Cup at plus 320 and Hamilton to win the Grey Cup at plus 325. I think I'm really happy with my Hamilton spot. I got to get out of this Calgary spot. You look at the Calgary numbers. If you faded Calgary ATS as a favorite all season, you've gone 11-1-1 ATS. Winnipeg ATS as dogs, 5-1. If you faded Calgary at home, 7-2. If you faded Calgary ATS all season, 12-5-1. Winnipeg is 12-6. My power ratings say that Calgary is 9 points better than Winnipeg, and this is a 5.5 line. My power rating is telling me to go Calgary, but because I have this spot with the future, I'm going to be probably I like Winnipeg, but full disclosure, I'm a little bit biased, but 11-1-1 as favorites, fading them, that's I can't ignore the only 5 ATS wins all season. I can't ignore that. Give me Winnipeg.
I am going to take the Alouettes -1.5 at -108. By the way, just before we put a bow on the CFL segment out, I went with you breaking down games. I went 10-1 with the Argos down the stretch. 10-1 with the Argos against the spread. Okay, Alouettes -1.5, and I'm not making a move on that Bombers Stamps at this point, but I feel like it's too many points. Okay, let's move on to the MLS final. Toronto-Seattle, we see it again. How are you banging this out? You've done great work with Toronto so far.
All right, so full disclosure again, I'm biased here. I'm going to be extremely excited if Toronto can win another MLS Cup. In my opinion, I just have the advantage as a fan because I can see this a little bit clearer than most people, I think. The only way that TFC has a chance to win this game is if they score first. So that makes me kind of just on a kind of a happiness hedge for me to want to bet Seattle to score first, but the price is -175, so I'm probably not gonna be on that. But I'm gonna be on Toronto again across the board, plus 300 to win in 90 minutes, plus 162 to lift the trophy. Toronto or draw -125. And what I've had a lot of success with in these playoff games, give me the under 1 in the first half, and then go first half draw. You're getting the first half draw at plus 130, and the under 1 at plus 100. You have a chance if it's 0-0 going into the half, you hit both, and if it's 1-0, you only lose one bet. So I think it's a nice spot to set yourself up. But I think Toronto can win. They just have to score first. That's my breakdown. Is basically the only chance that they're going to stop 61,000 people in that crazy stadium in Seattle is if they score first. If Seattle scores first, I think it'll be over quick.
Wow, and I like that idea. First half draw and under 1 is a very interesting way to handle that. MLS final there Sunday, Toronto, Seattle, and then you have a look on NFL as well. Al, what's your look there?
Okay, yeah, I'm giving this out just because to me this is probably going to be my biggest bet in NFL this season. You look at Buffalo. TeamRankings.com currently has Buffalo rated as the number 24 team in the NFL and has Cleveland as the number 21 team. This is just a rating I firmly disagree with, and I think that they're just copying the numbers based on what all the handicappers and all the line setters are seeing. And this is a line that I firmly disagree with. The Bills are the number 3 defense in the NFL. Okay, the Bills' defensive efficiency rating in 2019 has been 36.7%, meaning that it has taken their opponent on average 36.7% of their total average yards per game to score 6 points. The only 2 teams that I have rated higher than Buffalo as far as defense goes is New England at number 1 and San Francisco at number 2. When looking at these numbers more and more, I just think that this is absolutely ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous line I've seen all season. I have the Bills as 6 points better than the Browns on the road. This line opened earlier in the week as Cleveland being a 3-point favorite. It's gone back and forth. I got involved with Buffalo +3. I think it still sits at 3. This is a line that I'm going to disagree with this the most that I've disagreed with any line. There's some significant value on the side of Buffalo. I think the root of all of this is being basically that Cleveland is a heavily bet public team, and the odds makers are still having a little trouble believing in the Bills. So simply put, ample opportunity to make some money backing the Bills this weekend. This is, like I said, max bet for me, 4%. So Bills plus 136.
I like it, and I think the Kareem Hunt situation does add a bit of a twist, seeing Kareem Hunt back on the field for the Browns. I agree. I don't know what to make of that game. I haven't made a move there. And Mohamed Joma says Bills, 26th rated team in DVOA, not a good team, simply put. But I agree with you. I think they should be able to take care of the Browns. I haven't pulled the trigger there yet. I'm only on the Giants right now in the over 46.5 on the Monday Nighter. Al Mack, thank you so much for joining us. Follow this man on Twitter at SparkAlMac. Does a lot of great work for Spark Sports as well. He does articles here for Sports Book Review. Al Mack, thank you so much for joining us. Have yourself a great weekend.
Yeah, man, let's go.
There he is, Al Mack. Dropping the goods. And I'm tailing that Alouettes. This is a big game in Montreal. I'm tailing Al Mack with the Alouettes, and I think that's a good look, and I'll be making that bet after the show. There he is, Al Mack. Now we go from Al Mack to our guy, Maxwell Smart, coming off a 5-4 day in college basketball, and 5-4. Still a winning day, and he's angry about it. That's the kind of edge that Max works with. Can we roll the graphics for our guy, Maxwell Smart?
It wasn't until 2018 that the diamond in the rough went from hooligan to king of the world.
The guy couldn't play for shit, dog. He was awful. But can he cap? Yes, he can.
Maxwell Smart in the house. Before we introduce him, let's take a look at the records. Let's take a look at his overall record 3 days into the season. Let's see what Max is dealing with. 22-12 plus 8.81 units. Beautiful. 25.91% ROI. Then let's go to his best bets, Rafa. Let's jump into his best bets right after. 2-1, 28% ROI. Man, if we stay there all year, we're all going to be rich, Max. How you doing on this Friday evening?
I'm doing all right. I'm having a decent day. Did a lot of my work overnight, so I've been able to just watch some film, dig into the numbers, adjust my power ratings, because that's going to be a daunting task. And I'm going to be seeing some ladies. They're going to be dancing, they're going to be singing, they're going to be drinking, and hopefully tipping me money because I have to actually go to work tonight. So I'm excited to be on the show with all of you guys, and I'm hoping that I have a better showing than 5-4 because I was literally punching stuff, hitting stuff with a baseball bat yesterday, seeing that Rutgers game and how it was refereed and how the whistle was blowing. I was like zebras belong on the safari plains getting chased by lions.
Okay. Okay, we have a game popping off in 9 minutes. I know you've got looks that you want to talk about. We will. But let's talk about Davidson, Auburn. Auburn opening up at 3.5. Now down to 2.5, Max. Money coming in on Davidson. This total stuck around 145, 145.5, or even 146 at you wager. Max, my man, Davidson, Auburn pops off in 9 minutes. You got to move?
Yeah, I'm on it two ways. I took Davidson overnight, and I took the over 145.5. I'm going with this. I understand that Davidson's bringing back 5 starters, but the problem with Davidson's always been they don't have depth. The other thing that works out for them in this matchup is they have Kellen Grady, and he makes a big difference for that lineup in balancing the scoring and the responsibilities defensively and in transition. I think that John Axel Gudmundsson plays better with Kellen Grady in the lineup, and I think that they're going to be up to the task. This is a different kind of Auburn team. This isn't Jared Harper and Bryce Brown's team anymore. Samir Dowdy and Javon McCormick are not that kind of caliber guards. So there's going to be a reliance on really using your physicality, your size, getting close to the bucket, getting to the free throw line. And I think that Auburn's going to have to battle the entire game, trying not to get into a run and gun pace. Davidson, if they're smart, they try and keep the pace going. They keep on hitting jump shots, hitting three-point shots, and using their quickness and athleticism advantage against the Auburn front court. So that's how I'm looking at it. I'm on Davidson. I'm on the over.
On Davidson and on the over. Are either of these going to be official plays for the show?
I believe that I posted both of them on the official Betting with a Bag plays, so I think they're already official.
All right, let me grab them right now. Sorry, Max. Being a very busy day as these Fridays are. I'm going to Max's Twitter right now, and let's see what he's already locked in here. Max, let me get to it. Official Betting with the Bag. Oh, there's an under in Kansas UNCG. Oh, wow. Look at these official bag plays. Holy shit. There's a lot of them. My fault. Should have been all over this. Auburn over 145 at minus 110, and Davidson plus 3.5 at minus 120. Official looks at Max is already on. This game pops off in 6 minutes. Repeat, Max is on the Auburn over 145.5 at minus 110, as well as the Davidson plus 3.5 at minus 120. There we go. Taint play today, by the way. Radford Liberty over 133. Nufflush asking about. And very quickly from Barry Block says, my wife knows Max's voice now that I showed her last night's show. And this morning she said, is that your money man Max there making my money? Is that your money man Max there making man? You know what? I like Max and your wife, Barry. I like everything that happened there. Okay, so I've got Max's looks here now on Twitter, and we have additions that we are going to be adding. So there we go. That's the game that pops off in 5 minutes. So, Max, can you break down that first game that you wanted to talk about? I've got a lot of stuff here that I've kind of got to set up while we're making moves. What's that first game on the list that you wanted to break down?
Okay, so let me just get my rotation numbers out here for you. So I want to talk about Dartmouth and Buffalo, 745, 746. Buffalo open as 11.5-point favorite. You're seeing 12s across the board and an over-under 145.5, now dipping down to 144.5. Simply, this Dartmouth team has revenge on their mind. They lost 110-71 to this team last year. They're a real interesting three-point shooting team. Hit 264 three-pointers last year, 22 in their opening game, but then over the last 4 or 5 games, they went 1 for 35. Something to think about. Interesting little stat for you there. They win close games, and I think they're going to be very reliant on Trayvon Ari Turner, the Weber State transfer, for him to pick up a little bit of the slack lost by point guard Brendan Barry being out for the season. This team's identity is three-point shooting, 37% as a team, 8.5 a game, and I think that Chris Knight and James Foy will be able to adjust, and I think that they'll be looking to take advantage of a new forming Buffalo team with a lot of moving pieces, and a team that just lost C.J. Massenberg, Nick Perkins, and Jeremy Harris. If I'm looking at this game, I'm going to be getting on Dartmouth at plus 12, and I can get it at minus. Let me actually look at Line Shop for you. Sorry.
No worries, Max. I got it right here. You can get a plus 12 at minus 105. That's available at both Bovada and 5 Dimes. Max's first action, other than the stuff he's already tweeted out, is in. Max is on Dartmouth at plus 12 at minus 105. Dartmouth, plus 12 at minus 105. All right, so we're going to go over the spots that Max is already on shortly. But first, we're going to break down the games that he wants to add to his card. Next spot for Max is his boys in Connecticut. Sacred Heart, Connecticut. Sacred Heart opening up as 16-point dogs. Now they're 16.5 or 17-point dogs. Max, Sacred Heart, Connecticut.
Okay, so UConn, they're my team. I'm a little biased when it comes to betting on them, but this year we have to deal with the loss of Jalen Adams. He's graduated and moved on, which could be a good thing for Christian Vitale and Gilbert. I think that both of them need more touches, and they need to actually have the offense run isolation more for them individually for them to be successful. I'm looking for Josh Carlton, and I'm looking for Tyler Poley to have big impacts. Tyler Poley from the three-point line, Josh Carlton on the boards. He's got to improve on that 6 rebounds a game. We need solid front court production, and that's what this UConn team's been lacking for multiple seasons. A Cook, the highly touted four-star recruit. He's going to probably be making his debut in the starting lineup tonight. I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see him make an impact for my UConn Huskies. They have rough times in openers, especially in ATS. Morehead State, they only beat them by 10 or 12 last year. I'm looking at betting on Sacred Heart. I know that Sacred Heart got their asses smacked around by Providence, but Providence is head and shoulders better than UConn. EJ Ananoski and Jarrell Spellman are going to have an easier time scoring against UConn's front court and UConn's perimeter-oriented shot attempt offense. I also think that Aaron Clark, he showed a little bit of glimpses in that Providence game of what he could be coming out. And I think that him and his little frickin' Speedy Gonzalez ways, I think he's going to be a big impact player tonight also against UConn's guards. So obviously Sacred Heart has issues. Transition three-point defense, communications on screens, and getting clean looks at the basket. I think they'll have an easier time doing this. Therefore, I'm taking Sacred Heart plus 9.5 in the first half, minus 110.
All right, let's find this line right now here, backing Sacred Heart. And it's funny because Ron Crawford said, tell him, Max, UConn minus 16. But no, Sacred Heart is the look here against UConn. We are moving very quickly here. Let me grab the Sacred Heart. First half plus 9.5 at minus 110. There's actually a 9.5 at minus 105 at Bet365. So Sacred Heart, first half plus 9.5. And minus 105 available at Bet365. The next look we have on Max's card that he wants to talk about is this UTSA game. UTSA, Southern Illinois, rotation number 795, 796. Southern Illinois opening up as 2.5-point dogs, now 3-point dogs across the board. Max, UTSA, Southern Illinois.
Okay, so obviously, what are we gonna get from this UTSA backcourt tonight? Well, I hope that we get a better goddamn performance because Keaton Wallace and Javon Jackson, they attempted 40 shots. They made, I think, a combined 3 three-point shots. That's unacceptable, the amount of shot attempts that they take. They need to be more effective. They need to be better with the ball. They need to get some of these other guys involved in the offense. Knox Helam, 6'11", he's capable of giving you 9 and 5 in a game. Get him the touches, get him the minutes, but don't pull him if he misses 2 3-point shots, which is what the coaching staff did in the first game against Oklahoma. So there's also Jacob Germany. This kid has flair. I want to see him get some touches. He's slick with getting to the bucket. He's long and athletic, and I think that he could be a really nice change of pace piece to get defenses thinking other than how to close out on Keaton Wallace and Javon Jackson's jump shots. This is a team that was night and day. 41% shooting in one half, 27% shooting in another half. You cannot have that again tonight against a offensively weakened Southern Illinois Saluki team, but no slouch at all. Score off turnovers, score points in the paint, get second chance opportunities. I think that they're going to be able to cover this 5.5. I got 3.5 earlier in the day, actually overnight. It was one of the plays that I spoke about on the live -5 line is one of the plays that I put out right away after the show, about an hour and a half. I think that Southern Illinois is going to be competitive in this game. Barrett Benson at 6'10", the Northwestern transfer, he is very capable, and I think that he's going to be he's going to make up for some of the height and front court production that was lost last year. But it's going to come down to Aaron Cook and Eric McGill, and I don't think that they're up to the guard task of going toe-to-toe with these two explosive guards for UTSA. So give me that UTSA -5.5. But for the show, because it's 5.5, I'm actually going to jump down, and we're going to make the first half -3 an official pick.
All right, just going over everything. I'm just adding in your look from yesterday on the Late Show. You added American -3.5, and here we're going. And I'm sorry about the my mistake. I was still on the first half. That's why I gave the spread at whatever it was, 3 or 3.5 or 2.5 to 3, because it's now that full game is 5, like Max said. Sorry, we are moving very quickly here, so we're going to point spreads first half. Everything here at sportsreview.com, the SBR odds page, and we are getting UTSA first half -3. Can we beat -110? No, -3 and -110 for UTSA. So UTSA first half -3 and -110. I am copying and pasting your questions, and hopefully we'll have time for them. We are just going to keep rolling as fast as possible right now. And the next look on Max's card is Longwood George Mason. Let me go to spreads and totals here for full game. Here we go, full game. Spreads and totals. Come on, let's go. Please load. We have too much to do. And here we go, 143, 144. This spot opens with George Mason at -8, now 10s and 10.5s. This total opens up at 139.5, now 136 or 136.5. Actually, it's all over the place because bookmakers still at 138.5, but that under's juiced at -139. Wow. Max, Longwood, George Mason.
So this is a real interesting spot for me. I'm actually looking to get on Longwood on the full game. I like this +10.5 that's on the board. I'll put it like this: Justin Kear's injured for George Mason. There's gonna have to be a significant change from that Navy game. You're not going to be allowed to keep Longwood in the game like you did in Navy and then rely on coming back, going to overtime, and then hopefully covering the spread. I don't really have faith in this George Mason team being able to do that to Longwood. Longwood could speed up their offense. They have depth. They have good three-point shooting. The question is, how is it going to be affected versus George Mason's new ferocious full-court press? They're running this pretty hard. They're keeping the two opponents that they played, one Division I, one non-Division I, to 28% from the field, 19% from the three-point line. So I'm a little worried about that. I think that could be impacting the line because Justin Kear is an important piece. No offense to Hartwell, no offense to Jordan Miller or Greg Calix or AJ Wilson. They all serve their purpose. But if you don't have your alpha dog on the floor and you're given double digits, I'm taking Longwood, who was a very good ATS team last year, and I said has great depth with Jalen Smith, Jalen Wilson, Jashawn Smith, Shabuti Phillips, and they also got Abraham Dang in the middle right now, so you have a good rim protector to go up against AJ Wilson. I'm looking at Longwood. I like 10.5. If I could have got 5.5 on the first half, I would have taken that also, but I'll take +10.5 full game.
+10.5 full game at -110. Max, the next game you want to talk about, Illinois, Grand Canyon. Illinois opening up as 6.5-point favorites. They are still there, although you wagers moved it to 7. 775, 776 rotation number, Max. Illinois, Grand Canyon.
Yeah, so this is a game where obviously Grand Canyon is coming off an embarrassment, and it's a really interesting spot. On paper, by the numbers, matchup-wise, schematically, you think that Brad Underwood is going to be able to outcoach Dan Marley and bring his boys onto this daunting West Coast 2-game road trip where they play Arizona next and get this win. The problem is we've seen lots of spots like this in the past where we feel good about that road favorite, and then they end up losing. So we experienced it last night with the Idaho State Air Force game. I don't want to be part of that right now, but I'm already on Illinois. The play that I have towards this game is actually going to be on the under. I don't have faith in Grand Canyon's shooting ability. I don't have faith in their three-point shooting. That was illustrated by their 2 for 19 showing. Carlos Johnson is a bulldozer, but he's not going to hit three-point shots at a high enough percentage that it makes a difference. So 7 turnovers in the backcourt is unacceptable. Isaiah Brown, Carlos Johnson need to improve. You got to get more. You got to get more impact from Alessandro Lever at 6'10". Use his size, slow down the game. Limit the possessions, because you're not going to win a game against a fast game possession against Illinois. Illinois got out to a big lead and they got lazy and they let it go. I don't think that's going to happen tonight. I think that Illinois is going to win the game, but better yet, I think that this game is going to go under the total. So if you can give me under 147 or better, I'll be jumping on the under for show purposes.
148.5 is available. Would you like 148 at minus 105 or 148.5 at minus 112?
148. Because my edge at this game would be to 144.5. Therefore, I have enough wiggle room within that number to have my 2.5 point edge, and then allow myself to very easily make this pick on the under. I think it's a great play.
Illinois Grand Canyon under 148 at minus 105. I am copying and pasting as many questions as I can as we roll through. The next game Max wants to talk about rotation number 747, 748, Harvard Northwestern. This total opened up at 142. It's now at 141 or 141.5. Let's get to the spreads here right now, moving back and forth here at sportsbookreview.com. Oh, and I'm still on the Pinnacle openers. I've not moved to 5 dimes. That's my mistake. I'll move to 5 dimes while Max is breaking down this look here with Harvard, and let's find it right now. There we go, Harvard Northwestern. Harvard opening up as a pick'em. Now minus 3 or minus 3.5. Harvard when I said Northwestern. Harvard Northeastern. Max, take it away.
Yeah, so I'm on this game also 2 ways. I'm on the over. I think that both these teams want to run up-tempo. They want to shoot threes. They can hit threes. And this new three-point line isn't going to impact either side. You got Bryce Aiken on one side. You got Jordan Rowland on another side. Jordan Rowland coming off a 39-point game has to make up for the lost scoring production of Vasa, Donnell Gresham, and other guys, Sean Osius. This is a team that has to play balance, play together. They got a tough schedule. They have to make up for their lack of experience, and a guy like Bolden Brace at 40% from the three-point line, he's a perfect character to be the Robin to Jordan Rowland's Batman. Team goals got to be being a top offensive efficiency team, a top defensive efficiency team, and a great free throw shooting team. Get on the glass, bang on the boards, don't allow anyone to bully you, because this Harvard team, they're deep. They can throw different lineups at you. They throw different kinds of size at you. Noah Kirkwood can get on the glass. He's got size to guard on the perimeter. Chris Lewis, obviously manning the middle. He is not obviously as tall and stout as some other centers around the Ivy and around the CAA, but he's definitely a quality player, top 100 recruit that Tommy Amaker brought into Harvard. And I think Harvard is covering 3 points. I think they're going over the number, and I think that it's going to be one of the plays that I attach as my money line centerpiece on all my parlays tonight. So I'm feeling very strongly about Harvard.
Strongly about Harvard, and it's moved to 3. You can get a 3 at minus 110 from William Hill. Do you mind that?
Yep, that's fine by me.
All right, Harvard at minus 3 at minus 110. And that will be my first tail of Max's action. I'm on Harvard minus 3 at minus 110 as well. All right, let's keep rolling through the games that Max wanted to talk about. The next spot is Vermont. We've already had Sean Williams say take Vermont at minus 4. Not only that, we've had Noli No saying take the under in this Vermont game. Rotation number 133, 134. Vermont opening up at minus 2.5, 3.5 at Pinnacle, 4 everywhere else. This total opened up at 129, now 128 everywhere else, but 128.5 at Bet365. How are you hammering Vermont against St. Bonaventure?
Well, I love my guy Sean Williams, knows his freaking mid-major basketball, and I'm with him on Vermont. I got it overnight at minus 1. I gave it out also at minus 2. I think that this Vermont team is catching St. Bonaventure at a perfect time. Just lost Osun Osuni for the year, putting so much more pressure on Kyle Lofton and Thomas Welsh. Sorry about that. They went 5 for 23 in the game against Ohio. They went 1 for 10 from 3-point range. They're going to need someone in the front court to step up. My likely suggestion would be Amadi Ikapizi. He just needs to worry about not fouling out. The guy is very aggressive on the defensive end. I think that a guy, Daniel Giddens, a transfer from Alabama for Vermont, he's going to be up to the task of 6'11". I think he's going to be able to bring some great size and size that they're not going to see in the American East Conference very often. St. Bonaventure obviously has to limit turnovers, be strong on the ball, and try and score for 2-point range if the 3-point shot isn't dropping. This is a team that, on average, scores 64% of their buckets from 2-point range. So do that better, and hopefully the student section comes out tonight and really gives the team that extra boost, because this is a team with a very good home court advantage. I valued it. I rated it about 3.5. That's why I jumped on the one very quickly as soon as I saw it last night. And yeah, I think that the boys are right. I think that Vermont is getting this done. And at 128.5, I would be leaning towards the under. It's not going to be a play for me as of yet. I'm a little worried about Vermont hot shooting to start the game with Steph Smith and Anthony Lamb. But I'm ironclad on this Vermont play. I think that they win this game by double digits or more.
Would you like Vermont minus 3.5 at -116 or -4 at -110?
-4, -110, please.
Max is taking Vermont at -4 at -110. Let me get on that.
Is this?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jim. Is this a stale move going on in this George Mason game? Are you seeing it go up to 16 on 5 dimes?
I'm
looking at my SBR screen.
Let me get to that George Mason spot again. Here we go. Oh my God. Somebody would have to open up their 5 dimes account. Because I'm seeing it too here.
Okay, hold on. Let me open mine. Hold on 1 sec.
Wow. Okay. So we just added Vermont -4 at -110, and I am going to back it as well. I'm going to back this spot as well. Let me just copy and paste this. Copy and paste it.
Oh no, it's stale. It's stale.
That makes sense. That I think it's just, yeah, that makes sense. All right, I'm copying and pasting. So I'm also going to jump on Vermont with the boys. Vermont -4 at -110. Here we go, -110. And those are the first 2 plays. And also, before you guys get, too excited about me tailing Max, although I think it's going to work in the long run. I'm just 4-3 so far in the year. We have my numbers, but they're not important right now. All right, next stop that Max wanted to talk about is this Ryder spot. Ryder is, let me get their rotation number 137, 138. Ryder, Delaware State. Ryder opening up at 16.5. They're still there, but bookmaker hanging at 15.5. This total at 152.5 has gone down to 151.5 at both Bet365 and bookmaker, but 152.5 everywhere else. Max, Ryder, Delaware State.
All right, so I'm going with I already bet Ryder today. I think Ryder's going to play up-tempo. They're going to make hopefully 68% or better from the free throw line, because they get to the free throw line a ton. 24 turnovers will not win you any games. You cannot fall behind by 15 points against a very terrible MEAC team in Delaware State who lost Kevin Larkin and Sadiq Edwards, amongst other. Pinky Wiley, he's a freaking fireball, but he's not going to beat this Ryder team with 4 guys that are going to give you 20 points. A long, lengthy, athletic guy in Willie Nunez Jr. from FIU coming off the bench as your 6th man. If you're Ryder, pound the ball inside. Give it to Marshall. Give it to fucking Scott. Let these guys put some freaking work in. Just make sure the boys are taking care of the ball, because that's how Ryder falls behind. They're an efficient team. They get to the line. They take high percentage shots. But I need to see this team using their size to get down low and penetrate and get to the line, often make free throws. Delaware State obviously is one of the worst teams in college basketball. I think it's a safe team to bet against. Think it's also a safe bet to give the under on the show. And what can you give me, Jim? Because I want under 152 if I can get it.
Yeah, you can get 152.5 at minus 110. The under 152.5 at Pinnacles at minus 117, but at all these other books it's minus 110. You want under 152.5 minus 110?
Yes, sir.
All right, locked in. Ryder under 152.5 at minus 110, locked and loaded. Those were the 8 games that Max wanted to talk about that weren't a part of his initial plays that he tweeted out last night, and my fault for not retweeting those. I wish I had have done that. He's on Dartmouth plus 12 at minus 105. Sacred Heart first half plus 9.5 minus 105. UTSA first half minus 3. And that goes with his UTSA overnight play full game minus 3.5 minus 110. So he's doubling up there. Longwood plus 10.5 minus 110. Illinois Grand Canyon under 148 minus 105. Harvard minus 3 at minus 110. I tailed that. Vermont minus 4 at minus 110. I tailed that. And then the Ryder under 152.5 at minus 110. We have questions coming in, and you have a lot of looks on this card that we haven't talked about. And already looks that you're on. Why don't we just talk about them briefly here? And because I just want people to know your action. First off, you're on the North Carolina under. Red Girl is on that under as well. You're on the North Carolina under. They're up against Wilmington. Let's see where this game is. Where is UNC Wilmington? Come on, come to me right now. And there we go. It opened at 162.5. That's where you got it. It's now at 169.5 or 159.5. Why did you make that move towards the under?
Yeah, so it's really about this UNC Wilmington. They're going to be highly intense into this game tonight. This is one of the biggest games of the year for them. They're going to pack the house. The student section is going to be motivating this team. Kai Tays has such a fantastic story coming over from Japan, having to work his ass off, and we're seeing it. He's one of the best assist men in mid-major basketball, and I think that having North Carolina come in is going to be a big thing for this team tonight. Obviously, they lose their best defensive player, Devontae Cook, Gintel Celia leaving as a grad transfer to go to Arkansas. Those are big losses for this team, but it's next man up, and they got a chip on their shoulder. J.S. Team even said himself in an interview that he wanted and dreamed of going to North Carolina, and now his dream is to beat North Carolina. I think that means that this team is going to be defensively on point. I think that they're going to be able to catch North Carolina in a less intensive situation for them as a team coming off that beautiful ACC opening win against Notre Dame. I'm looking for the under. I don't think that if North Carolina wins and covers this game, which a lot of our friends think they do, I don't think Wilmington's getting past 65 points.
Wow. Interesting look. And do you think it still has value at 160 or 159.5?
At 160, yeah, I think so. Anything under there, then it's just like makes me start to second guess it.
All right, let's keep breaking down spots. You're on Baylor at under 138.5. Baylor at 138.5. And I'm trying to find this game very quickly here. I wish I had everything set up, but it was a very busy day. Baylor, 16th ranked Baylor at Washington. You got on them at under 138. Another market move that Max is destroying. It's at 135 now. Remember, follow this man on Twitter, and you will be on it. 3-point advantage that you'd have right now. Why are you on the under in Baylor, Washington?
So, obviously, we watched Baylor play absolute fantastic offense against UCA, but this is going to be a much different challenge. You're going to have to deal with length, well-coached Mike Hopkins zone, and then you have to deal with Isaiah Stewart in the middle. I think that this Baylor team obviously has a very breakout breakout possible piece in Jared Butler. The three-point shot was demonstrated in how lethal he was in the game against UCA. I think Maceo Teague coming in, also sitting on the bench and practicing with his team on the scout team, has benefited the Baylor team a lot. I think they're on a mission. I think that they should be the favorite to win the Big 12, and I think they're going to play like it. Tristan Clark is going to have a perfect opportunity to really sharpen his teeth against this Washington front court that is young but talented. And with the addition of Quaddy Green for Washington, I want to see how he's implemented to the system. I want to see what kind of pace Washington's playing with. And at this point right now, I see Baylor at this point in the season able to beat Washington. When it comes to March, that may be a different story because I expect a lot of growth in this UW team. But tonight in Anchorage, Alaska, on a neutral court that they are neither familiar with, I think that Baylor is going to be able to win this game, cover, and I believe that the game's going under, because what have we seen on these neutral court games early on the season? Under City. I'm losing a bet right now because of that.
Your next look on the overnight lines was Siena plus 20.5. Siena up against 19th ranked Xavier. Opened at 20.5, now 19.5 and 19s. His total shot up from 141.5 all the way up to 146. Why are you backing Siena, and do you think they still have value at 19.5?
Yes, I do. I think that Siena is definitely a step up in competition from Xavier's game against Jacksonville that they weren't able to cover. I also think that Xavier, without having Jason Carter, the Ohio transfer, healthy and playing full minutes, I think that hurts them also. It's really a play on Siena. Siena, obviously, last year, they really stalled in the half court often. They played one of the slowest paces in all of D1 basketball. And we saw against American that they are speeding it up. They're taking to the bucket. Jalen Pickett has grown and gotten even better than he was as a freshman, and that's scary to say because at 6'4", with his hops, his vision, his passing ability, and his scoring mentality, that's dangerous. You don't want to take 20 points with a team going up against a team with a guy like that on it. And even though Siena's going on the road, I expect Siena with Steve Marcello as the new coach there to get Siena to be very competitive in this game.
I am tailing Siena. I got 19.5 at minus 105. Next up, Eastern Kentucky. Kentucky opening up at 29.5, now 28 or 28.5, although there is 29 on the board. There's total opened up at 151. There is still a 151, but there's also 150.5 on the board. You took over 150 on this Eastern Kentucky game at minus 110. Why?
Because Big Blue is in the house. Simply like this. I think that Eastern Kentucky wants to move at a pace that is going to allow them lots of shot opportunities, lots of possessions. Kentucky coming off that really hard-nosed defensive game. Why not give the home crowd a show? It's a home opener for Kentucky. It's an in-state rival. I think that they're going to smack him in the mouth, send him to the frickin' barbershop and tell him to frickin' pick up a frickin' mortadella sandwich. But I think that they're going to be able to score some points. I think Kentucky's going to do it. I think that when you play a level of competition up here and then play a level of competition down here, who loses Nick Mayo and his 23 points per game, it's hard for me not to get on Kentucky and think that this game is going to be going over.
Next look on your card is Loyola Chicago Furman. You tweeted out over 129 at minus 110. It's now up to 129.5 at Bet365 and Bookmaker, 130 everywhere else. So it's still right in range. Loyola Chicago Furman over. Break it down for us, Max.
Yeah, this is simply, I think that Loyola doesn't have the personnel to play very slow, deliberate offense. I think that they have to take transition scoring opportunities when they are given. I think that Furman will want to play a little bit of a faster pace, especially at home. And with this number not being in the 140 range, it was a play that I instantly had to jump on the over. I know that there's a couple people out there that are on the under that I respect. But I just think that Loyola Chicago is going to definitely be changing their identity, and this is a perfect game for them to do it. I think that there is going to be a perimeter orientation for scoring from Furman with Jordan Lyons on the three-point range. I think that Clay Mounts obviously can get his down low, but he can also take it out to the three-point line, and he can hit a perimeter shot too. I think that Furman's going to be energetic. I think that they're going to really salivate playing a high-end mid-major team at home, and I look for these guys to score points against each other. I don't look for it to be a slow defensive game.
I have tailed it. I am on the over as well. Over 129.5 of minus 110 is available at a couple different looks. Next spot that you jumped on was Santa Clara at minus 15.5 at minus 120. Cal Poly against Santa Clara. Rotation number 787, 788. Santa Clara opening up at 16.5, now 15.5, and a 15 at Bet Online. The total opened up at 144, now 143. Why did you feel like you needed to get in on Santa Clara early?
Yeah, this is a small edge. I thought that this line would actually balloon up to 18 or 19. I thought that it would not stay around this range for the whole day. I'm really impressed with the trio of scoring that Santa Clara has in Trey Werson, Chaj Edey, and Joseph Vanek. So all three of these guys can give you a big game on any given night. They do things differently, and when you have a strong scoring backcourt at home in your coach's fourth year, who I believe is on the hot seat and really needs to make something happen with this roster, I think that this is a great opportunity to try and get on a team that has something to prove, that wants to make a bigger name in their conference, and secondly, to get on the fade circle of Cal Poly. I just don't have faith in what they do offensively. I don't think that they move fast enough to come back from a big deficit, and I think that they're susceptible to giving up scoring spurts and going into scoring droughts. So Santa Clara is a spot that I have a small edge on, 2.5 point edge, and I played it. So I got it at minus 120.
All right, we are rolling right along. I am copying and pasting the questions, but I'm going over Max's looks right now. We're almost through them all, so don't worry. We're almost through them all, which is, I like the pace that we're going at. Let's keep it rolling. Next up is, you're on Baylor. And you've already explained that. Baylor -5 at -110 in that game up in Anchorage. And we've already spoken about that. So let's move on to this Weber State, Utah State. Utah State opening up at -17, now 16.5, 16s. And this total opened up at 151, and the bottom dropped out of it. It's now 144. Weber State, Utah State, Max. And you are backing this under, and you got it at a great spot. Why do you think the bottom fell out of it?
I actually didn't know why this game wasn't lined in the mid-140s in the first place. With Cody John and Jarek Harding for Weber State, they don't want to get into a high-scoring game with Utah State. Utah State, if they get hot from the perimeter, that's where they want to score tonight. They got no Namus Keita in the lineup, so they got no rim protection. I think that Weber State will either try and get to the bucket a lot more than they would have with him in it, and I think that there could be opportunities for Utah State to create turnovers, force steals, force unforced turnovers with Weber State making mistakes on their own. I think that Weber State's going to be able to stay in this game, and I think that it's going to be a hard-nosed game. I don't think that it's going to be high scoring. At this point right now, I'm highly tempted to ask you to look up the Bet365 additional totals on this game and to hit the over 152.5, hopefully at a plus price. 146.5, hopefully at a plus price.
Wow. I can
I can help you out with that.
Well, don't worry. But let's keep rolling. I'll keep an eye on it. But it's gone down so far that it's right now. I'll pull it up. While I'm pulling it up, let's talk about this next spot on your card, Memphis. You jumped on this under 157.5. in Memphis. Illinois, Chicago up against Memphis. His total opened up at 157.5. It's now 154.5 or even 153. You got it at 157.5. Why were you hot on the under in this spot?
Yeah, I think that Memphis's team obviously is very young, has a lot of new pieces trying to work together. I don't think that they're ready to do so yet. Obviously, Penny Hardaway has some experience coaching a couple of these guys, like obviously the great James Wiseman, who I'm calling the great because he is going to be great. The kid runs up and down the floor on defense, on offense, like a fucking gazelle at his weight and height. And I think he's going to be a monster. I just don't know about the other pieces being able to contribute in a way that this game goes over like that. I think they're going to be in a battle tonight against Illinois Chicago. Illinois Chicago has Marcus Audie and Godwin Bowen, both 15-point per game scores. I think that that's going to be real interesting for them. I think that they're going to salivate at being able to take a shot at a team that they can beat. And I think that taking a game like this in the under, where Memphis may struggle scoring and may use their defense to really limit possessions and force Illinois Chicago to shoot the ball with less time on the shot clock, I think that's my reasoning behind this game. And I think that I like it enough that I could go a little harder on it. What the fuck? Why is that suspended? No, that's not true.
Okay, you can expand on what you are talking about in a second. Your next look was East Carolina -1 at -110. Rotation number 799, 800. East Carolina Navy. East Carolina opening up at -1 now. 2s and 2.5s on the board. This total's dropped 4 points. Why are you on East Carolina here?
Yeah, so East Carolina, obviously with Jaden Gardner, having Seth Day back, I think that's a really nice start for this team. I think that it's really a play against Navy and losing Hassan Abdullah and George Kiernan. You're really going to put a lot of reliance on John Carter to be the scoring piece for this team. And I think that they may be emotionally deflated from going to overtime with George Mason, losing in that kind of fashion in overtime. I think that on a neutral court, they have a little bit of a hangover from that, and I think that East Carolina is going to beat teams in the non-conference. I think that they're going to win 7 or 8 of their games, and I think that this is an opponent that they're going to beat. So it was a play that when I watched from the East Carolina VMI game, I was like, well, what did I learn? I learned that I can put a little bit of trust in East Carolina versus a team like Navy, missing so much and having so much question marks about how they're going to run their offense.
And Wiseman being in the lineup, there's Junior Brown in the house. Wiseman being in the lineup is why that game is suspended. I'm tailing East Carolina. I got -2 at -110. When I bet it, it'll be 2.5 at -110 at Bet365. That's the 5th look on Max's card that I am tailing. He's also on the, again, you got to follow him on Twitter. He got in on the under 145.5 in Kansas, North Carolina, Greensboro, and it's all the way down to 139.5. Why were you so heavy on this under?
Well, I was actually feeling the under because I don't think that Isaiah Moss is going to play, although reports are saying that he may. I don't know how much he's going to be able to contribute from the three-point line. And seeing that Kansas only took 9 three-point shot attempts in the game against Duke, it makes me wonder, well, maybe there's going to be a little bit of a different philosophy offensively to begin this season. I think that they're going to use a lot more of McCormick and try and get Azubuike a lot more touches. So from that standpoint, it feels like there's going to be a lot less possessions. Also, with Galloway and James Dickey in the front court for UNC Greensboro, they're not going to be able to push them around and shove them around. And the best thing that UNC Greensboro can do is slow this game down and allow Isaiah Miller to run a lot of isolation plays, because if you allow Kansas to get out and run with Marcus Garrett and company and Dotson, I think that you're just playing right into their hand. I think that's going to be a losing. That's going to be a losing play for you. So I took the under when I got it. I saw that it went down to what it is right now. I'm tempted to buy back a little, but I'm going to leave it alone and just let it ride. I've doubled up on quite a few games already tonight.
There we have it. Those are all of Mac's looks. And now we've created a situation where we've got a little bit of time for questions. Great job, Max. And the only other look is Illinois -6. But we discussed that when Max went in on that Illinois Grand Canyon under 148. Okay, first question comes from, and thank you guys who asked questions for your patience. So I just wanted to hear all of Max's looks because I wanted to decide what the hell I was going to tail. And I have locked in 5 plays to tail. Let's go over to Kenneth Heath. He says, Jimmy, ask Max about Kentucky first half. We've already talked about this game, Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky. And if you want to jump in on Kentucky first half, I just jumped on it. I don't know why I can't find it. There's not that many games on this card. Kentucky first half is Wow. Open at -17, now -16.5. What do you think about Kenneth jumping on Kentucky first half here?
Yeah, it's a lot of points. You're putting a lot of reliance on them having a good start. With it being the home opener, I think that it's a good spot for you to get on in this situation. I'm not saying it's something that you should do every home game for Kentucky, but in this spot, I think that you're in a good position. It's not going to be a bet that I make, but it's something that I can see happening. I do see a couple guys that are on the +17 on the first half, but yeah, no, I think that it's a nice look. I think that it's a fair look, and I wish you the best of luck on it.
You jumped on American University yesterday at -3.5. You still feel good about it?
Yeah, I do have to worry how Josh Alexander and Mark Gasparini are going to go up against Van Vliet, the 7-footer transfer that they got, and Nathan Knight. But I got to go with what I've seen from this American team. They play together. They just added Jameer Harris. There's going to be better shooting, better offense ran with Saeed Nelson on the floor running the show. And I think that it's just going to be a matter of, can American get in transition, use their speed to get up and down the floor, and not allow William & Mary to set up with their big men down low. I think American's going to do it. I hope they're going to do it. And well, we're already on it. We're going to see in about 23 minutes if they can do it, because William & Mary is not playing high point tonight. They're playing a team that can score the basketball.
The next spot on this card, and I do want to talk about Matt Randall's taint play today and some other looks, but we have questions coming in. Next one from Ron Lofton says, Jimmy, if there's time later, could you ask Max his thoughts on this Arizona State game, rotation number 789, 790, Colorado, Arizona State, Colorado opening up at -5.5. Now fives are on the board. This total opened up at 147.5, and Pinnacle's leading the way to the under at 144.5, while other books are up to 146. Max, Colorado, Arizona State.
I apologize, Ron. I am not betting this game. I didn't look at it. I didn't look at the line. It's being played in China, and I don't bet on games that are played in China.
Understandable. Let's move on to Corey Lewis. So you had a look on Massachusetts Lowell on opening night, I believe, when they were up against UMass. Now they're up against LIU, and Corey Lewis is wondering what you think of this spot here. LIU opening up at 4.5. That's where they stand right now. This total opened up at 153. It's down to 152 or 152.5. Massachusetts Lowell, LIU, Max.
Yeah, so my issue with UMass Lowell in this spot is they're a team that practices very well, but I don't think that they take what they practice into the game, and that's what I saw against Massachusetts. That's why Massachusetts beat them in the way that they did. They have a major problem getting back in transition defense, not allowing the opponent to beat them with a long pass. And LIU is the type of team where they get a rebound, they're going. So I look for UMass Lowell to really try and slow the pace down and really run deliberate half-court offense with Lutete and Noel. And I think that LIU is going to be able to score the basketball. I think that with Jackson Jr. coming in from Detroit, I think that he's going to be a nice spark plug little guy off the bench. And I think that losing Errol Penn is going to obviously put a little more strain on the front court for LIU. But in the end, LIU is a tournament quality type team to me. I think that they're winning this game. I think that the game is going under. I had bet it on my personal accounts. I did not put it on my Twitter. I got under 153. My boys, Ant Larson of the Sports Keg, Dave Betts, the Sports Keg CEO, Jason Paglia, they all know about that. And, of course, my boy, Tyler Hicks, TH412. Get your NBA from him.
We have another question from Canascat. Talking about Charleston Southern, North Carolina A&T says, if there's time, please ask Max if he likes Charleston Southern, because he sure does. Charleston Southern opening up at -6. They're still there, but there are some 6.5s on the board. This total from 137.5 to 136.5. Max, do you think Canascat should pull the trigger on Charleston Southern?
See, this is an interesting spot, a spot that I'm probably staying away from. One of the people that I respect, the godfather of volume, G Unit, Greg Peterson, he's on the North Carolina A&T money line tonight. I'm not a big fan of Cameron Langley. I'm not a big fan of how inexperienced this North Carolina A&T team is. And the fact is they got their ass smoked by Greensboro, and it didn't look good how they lost. Charleston Southern, obviously losing Christian Keeling is a big loss to them, but with Philandros Fleming and Dontrell Schuler, I think that this team has a lot of potential. I don't really like either team in this spot. I can't really give you an opinion, but if I was going to have a gun to my head, it's like, Max, you want to live or do you want to die? I'd be taking the points with the home dog on Friday night.
Donald Mao wondering if anybody's on the Bowling Green LSU over. We will be getting to Max's best bet very soon. Two more questions. Donald wondering, anyone on the Bowling Green LSU over that opened up at 157? It's now at 158, 158 and a half, or 159. Pinnacle leading the charge to the over. What do you think here, Max?
Nothing on it. Sorry about that.
No worries. You don't have to have something on everything, and don't worry about a thing, because we're firing questions at you fast and furious. The final question before we ask Max what his best play of the day. Actually, I want to one more thing, because I want to ask him what he thinks about Matt Randall's team play today. 37 Scandalous says unders are cashing in at a 63% clip. Crazy. Says, is it prudent to fade overs until we see how the new three-point line plays out? These first two games on the card already are looking to go under. What do you think about that, Max?
I think it's really, you got to do it game by game basis. You got to really base it on the personnel. And I'll say with 42 points through 12 minutes in the first half in Auburn, it's not that close. Obviously, this Oakland-Delaware game is going under. I hit it a bunch of times live while I was waiting to come on the show. Shout out to Al Mack, my fellow Torontonian. We'll be going to see some college basketball together on next Saturday. But, yeah. I lost track of what I was saying. Oh, yeah, the unders. Listen, you can't automatically fade over under on any bet throughout a whole card. You really got to do it game-by-game basis. Do your research. Consult your friends that know what's going on. I can't suggest doing that. Sorry about that. I lost my train of thought for a second.
Quickly, from our guy Farsha Sami wondering what you think about Duke. They opened at 23.5. They're now at 24. And this total has dropped 5 points. Colorado State, fourth-ranked Duke.
Yeah, I didn't really have a feel for the side. I would have probably gone with the dog if I was going to. It was more I was liking the under in the game, but obviously we've seen the line movement. It's moved way too much, so the game is just a layoff.
And then finally, we have Matt Randall's taint play of the day. Matt Randall's taint play of the day is very hot, and this market move has gone against him in the over in the Liberty game. He gave it out at 133. I'm now seeing it at 131 and a half. Sorry, I'm just all these games are blurring into one. What do you think about the over in the Liberty spot for our guy, Matt Randall, Radford Liberty?
Yeah, so obviously with Carlik Jones and Donovan Fields Jr., you have some solid backcourt pieces on a Radford team that is favored to win the Big South. This is a rivalry game. These schools played in the same conference for multiple years. I think that this Liberty team wants to beat Radford, smack them in the mouth like they own them. And when it comes to the total, I'll point out this. Matt Randall was on the, I believe, the under in the Ohio State-Cincinnati. No, actually, never mind. I'll forget that. Basically, what I'm thinking is Liberty's going to be able to score the ball. Radford's going to be able to score the ball. The fact that this number's gone down, I would have had it lined at 136 or 137. At 131, I'd be looking at the over also with the taint play of the day, even though overnight and my first lean and my first look, I was leaning towards the under.
And there we have it. Man, Max, this is wild and intense breaking down college basketball with you. It is time for the Maxwell Smart play of the day, sitting at 2-1 on this short season. Max, what is it?
Oh, this is such a hard one. My God, every time we try and do this. Okay, so this was a real tough one for me. I had to go with a total again, and I took an over. I took over 141.5 Northern Kentucky and Missouri. That's going to be my play. I think that Missouri with Drew Smith, the Evansville point guard transfer, I think he's a solid guy to run the offense. I think Northern Kentucky's going to push the pace. I think that they're solid with Tyler Sharp and Jalen Tate. I think that these guys are going to be able to score the basketball against each other, and I look for this game to at least get both teams into the 70s.
Northern Kentucky here in the over. I'm pulling it up right now. My computer can't keep up with us. Northern Kentucky, Missouri. This opened up at 139. There is a 141 available at one book, and that being Pinnacle. Over 141 at minus 108. That is over 141 minus 108 in the Northern Kentucky spot, and I will tail that as well. Northern Kentucky over 108. That is the, sorry, let me make sure I remember, POD play of the day. I am tailing 6 of Max's action. Here we go. I'm on Harvard minus 3, minus 110. Vermont minus 4, minus 110. Siena plus 19.5 and minus 105. Loyola Furman over 129.5 and minus 110. Let me get the there. Eastern Carolina minus 2 at minus 110. And now the play of the day. Breaking down all of Max's action. And we had a question from Andrew Knight. Can we get any input on UConn? Yeah, we already broke that game down, and that is one of Max's plays. So let's get over it right now. Okay, American minus 3.5 and minus 110. The first group of plays are plays that Max added last night. So remember, follow him at Maxwell Smart. Maxwell Smart 420. Follow him on Twitter because he put this out 18 hours ago, and he cashed and beat up all these market moves. So here we go. These are Max's looks. American minus 3.5. Auburn over 145.5 minus 110. Baylor under 138 minus 115. Siena plus 20.5 and minus 110. Over 150 in the Kentucky game. Over 129 in the Furman game. Santa Clara minus 15.5. Baylor minus 5. Oakland over 146. Weber State under 150.5. UTSA minus 3.5. Memphis under 157.5. UNC under 162. Davidson plus 3.5 minus 120. Eastern Carolina minus 1 and minus 110. Illinois minus 6 minus 120. And the under 145 in the Kansas North Carolina Greensboro game. Then the plays that he added on this show, I got at 4, but I haven't betted yet, JP, so we'll see what I betted at in a few minutes. These are the plays he added on the late show. Dartmouth plus 12 minus 105. Sacred Heart first half plus 9.5. So that tells you what he thinks about that UConn spot. Remember, Max is a big UConn fan. So I always, my ears are always pricked when someone bets against their team. Pricked enough, so I should probably tail that. I'm going to tail that. Let's see if that's still available. Sorry, it's just going to take a second. First half, Sacred Heart. I always love, it's like when Noli Knows takes an over. He's betting against his home team here. So first half, point spreads, Sacred Heart, UConn. Nobody knows this UConn team better than Max. And here we go, UConn, Sacred Heart. I believe it's right around here. I'm still getting a 9.5 at minus 105 at Bet365. So that will be another addition to my card here. Sacred Heart, first half, plus 9.5 and minus 105. Okay, sorry. Let me get back at it with Max's action there. He's also on UTSA first half minus 3. Put the full game on before the 18 hours ago. Longwood plus 10.5 minus 110. Illinois Grand Canyon under 148 minus 105. Harvard minus 3 minus 110. Vermont minus 4 minus 110. Rider under 152.5 and minus 110. And the play of the day, the Northern Kentucky game over 141 is the play of the day. Wow, Max! I need a drink. I also got to go make some bets. We have a play of the day video coming from our very own Mr. Fat Fist, whom we love dearly. Max, incredible work. Enjoy your weekend. And it was a very fun first week of basketball, college basketball with you. 22-12 going into this card. And just love having you on the show. Great job, my friend. And try to take a breath at some point this weekend because it's going to be coming fast and furious for the next few months. Much love to you. On behalf of everybody in the chat, thank you for your hard work and sharing it all with us. Enjoy your weekend, my friend.
All right, well, it's obviously always a pleasure to be with you, Jimmy, to be with the Low Baggers. This is where I came from. This is where I want to be. I came out of the chat. I'm on the screen with you guys. Hopefully tonight we have a great night, and I don't have to come back on Monday crying like a little girl. I'm going to be taking Saturday off. I'm going to be sleeping, watching games, enjoying myself, and I'll catch you guys on Monday. Have a great night.
There he is, Maxwell Smart. We have no Freddie. I've got to go make bets. So we're going to let Fat Fist play us out. So much love to you guys. Let's have a very big, profitable weekend. I've already cashed in NHL, and I'm not making a move on college football and basketball, NBA basketball. So my only looks will be these college basketball games. So that's my card tonight. I'm already up $190 moving into it. I hit that went against the market move, got the under 6.5 in the Globe series. That's it, man. I need a stiff drink. Much love to all of you guys. Dear Slayer Ski, Rex in college football, no request day bets. Kevin Garrett's, Big E, Paulo Marquez, Chump Change, Memphis Money, Lamont Williams, Jesse Nemeth, Matt Randall, Guru Sports Bet 37, Scandler, Viper and B. Listen, we have nothing without you guys. Rafa, will you let Mr. Fat Fist play us out? Get after it, fellas.
What's up, Jimmy? What's up, Flash? What's up, Low Baggers? Fat Fist is back, ready to attack UFC Mother Russia over in Moscow. We got Zabit versus Calvin Qatar. It's going to be a good fight. Zabit is a little steamed right now in the minus 250, 260-ish. I don't mind people playing him in a parlay. We'll touch on that a little bit later here. But I do believe he gets that job done. But I don't blame anybody for taking Calvin Qatar on the plus 200s. On the last week, though, we cashed that game-bred Jorge Masvidal. He pieced up Nate Diaz. We all know Nate Diaz didn't have a prayer in that fight going into the 4th and 5th. The doctor would have stopped that after the 4th. If not, he would have got knocked out or TKO'd in the 4th or 5th. That being said, though, on to this week, we got Alexander Yakovlev versus Roosevelt Roberts. Listen, in Yakovlev's last fight, first fight down at 155 pounds, coming from the welterweight division, he did well, and he used his game plan to the T, took down Silva, and choked him out. Now, Roosevelt Roberts in his last fight, he was the favorite against Vince Hell Pichel, and I did take him, and I regret it. Showed a lot of holes in that fight. Vince Pichel fought at his range, fought at his pace, and he won a unanimous decision. And Vince is basically a journeyman, just a veteran that, gets the job done when, he can against certain fighters. And what I believe Yakovlev is a way better version than Vince Pichel. So that being said, right now you get Yakovlev at plus 142 at Bet Online, and I would jump on that. That's one of the better looks I have on this card. It's a very, very tough card. A lot of heavy Russian favorites, a lot of heavy grapplers as well. So that means it's probably going to go to the judges for most of these fights. With Russian judges, the Russians usually get the nod. It's just like that. So just be careful. That being said, I got some honorable mentions. I'm liking Jessica Rose Clark. You get her at minus 107 at Pinnacle. Anthony Rocco Martin, I'd throw a half a unit at plus 120. You get him at William Hill. I like that Zabit and Zalim parlay at plus 104 at William Hill as well. And then Nurmagomedov and David Zawada, the fight not to go the distance at plus 160. But that's it. You got to be careful with this card. Like I said, it's not from a betting perspective, it's not a very good card. Next week, I got some great spots. But until next week, reach out to me at Mr. Fat Fist. I'm going to throw my entire card on Twitter and on Instagram. You can reach me at MRFATFIST, Mr. Fat Fist. Till next time, guys, let's cash these bets and let's cash these checks. I'm out.
Leche, los bookmakers.